Payday was supposed to be the answer to all Nigerian freelancers trying to get paid internationally without any hassle, but instead, it turned into a nightmare for freelancers, literally the opposite of what it was supposed to do. This is a deep dive into what was supposed to be a big break for freelancers in the most thriving economy in Africa, Nigeria. For us to truly understand Payday and where it is today, we need to take a deep dive into the previous ventures of Favor Ori, the CEO of Payday. Favor Ori is a 26-year-old software engineer and entrepreneur with an extensive background in the tech space in Nigeria and overseas. At age 19, he moved to the US in 2016 to study computer science in the University of Southern Arkansas. Shortly after, in 2019, he then moved on to his first major venture in the tech space by creating College Situation, a platform that connects students all over the world with schools, scholarships, and academic advantages. Within 3 months, it was acquired by the self-proclaimed Bitcoin chief, Gaius Chibueze, for about $51,000. That's about 22 million naira at the time. He was fully empowered and motivated to do more. Being a graduate of the Southern Arkansas University and one of his earliest ventures taking off in no time, gaining the attentions of thousands of investors and tech enthusiasts all over the world, he knew he was in the right place at the right time to build yet another product and present it to the world. And that's where a project he'd been working on behind the scenes started to see more light. The project being Fave Code 54. This time around, he wanted to encourage and train African tech enthusiasts to become professional developers. With the help of IBM Canada, he was able to achieve just that. The mentorship platform boasts of over 13,000 Africans, trained with roughly over 55% of them landing international tech gigs. He seemed to be on an amazing run right from the very start of his career. While this may be true, it looks like it's starting to get into his head little by little. In 2020, during the height of the pandemic, he launched yet another product. This time, it was aimed at helping tech folks get into national gigs. He called it WeJappa. It didn't take long for things to go south with WeJappa. The company and the product was plagued with lots of issues and accusations. Mind you, this was the first time Favor actually built and ran a company. It was easy to see his lack of maturity, instructive decision-making, and less than power management, which resulted in an untrustworthy character amongst his peers and colleagues, and shortly after, the masses. Anyway, back to WeJappa. It's essentially a marketplace where employers and workers define themselves based on the employer's needs and the worker's skill sets. Normally, a platform like this should be automated for various reasons, including unbiased, efficiency, and faster verification, to name a few. But from the looks of it, Favor had other plans. Most of the internal works of WeJappa was manual, so when a new developer tried joining the platform, they would oftentimes have to wait up to a week or two before being accepted or rejected. This is extremely counterintuitive for a tech company to run such a daunting task manually, as we know that bias and various other errors could take place. Because if you look at other similar platforms like Upwork, whilst they have humans helping with the screening process, the talent matching process is left up to the algorithm for a more efficient system. But that's not the case with WeJappa. This fundamental flaw caused a major issue in their transparency and trust as a company, as the issues of bias, favoritism, and downright error started becoming a prevalent issue throughout the platform. In a nutshell, he created a mess that included allegations of him maltreating his employees and was running an unfair system, an entire mess, to be honest. It ended up with him stepping down and Howard Gwillard, the co-founder and CEO, taking over. So now we're almost fully caught up to speed with all his ventures, and we can start to see a pattern in the way he does things. He's not one to waste any time, but jumps onto the next best thing. In fact, he had a track record of working on several projects at the same time, and that's how Payday was launched and funded by another company he had been working on for a while, whilst with WeJappa, the company being Talent Match. Now, like I mentioned earlier, Favor has this tendency to work on several projects at the same time, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Neither is it uncommon for tech entrepreneurs to do that. But in his case, I noted that with each subsequent venture of his, or rather project of his, he loses more and more focus on what needs to be done. Almost like he's just mindlessly building there and not really taking the time to really nurture a steady growth. But instead, he uses his abilities and his connections to secure funding to push all his new ventures to the spotlight. And the problem is that he does not clearly define a structure that would define longevity and ensure growth in that company or that product. Anyway, so in June 2021, Talent Match launched Payday and also announced that they had successfully raised about $100,000. Now let me be clear, Favor is extremely good at two things. Number one is raising funds. Number two is building new ventures of products. And these two things might just be his downfall. including his lack of management skills and his declining willingness to do things straightforward that can be traced back to his time at WeJappa. So like I said earlier in this video, Payday was supposed to be the answer to independent freelancers and workers in Nigeria, and subsequently, other African country folks to easily receive payments for their works, which for Nigerians right now is one of the biggest hurdles of being a freelancer. By February 2023, they'd already amassed over 130,000 users, which at this rate isn't necessarily a surprise to Favory, as he's kind of used to attracting a large crowd of people to his products and services. Anyway, so things are looking promising, right? Payday is doing what they said they would do, or are they? Not long after, we started seeing a lot of questionable things on the platform and those behind it. Lots of people started complaining about their funds being held unlawfully or with little to no explanation. And I actually happen to be one of those people. Now, let me show you what it was like dealing with a customer service firsthand from my experience. For context, I had a client that wanted me to design his brand in South Africa. Okay, so we agreed on a price, I sent him the contract to sign and an invoice for him to make the payment. I figured I might as well give Payday a try to receive the payment, as I was only using Payday for the virtual card feature. So they had this feature on the Payday app where you could send a payment link to someone and they could use whatever payment method that's available to them in their country to make the payment, and you receive the dollar equivalent, which is pretty much how I charge anyway. So that's good, right? Cool, we did that. The transaction took about 20 minutes or so and it was successful. Shortly after I withdrew the funds to my local bank account, by the time I was running up the project with my client, I tried logging onto the Payday app, and what do you know? My account was flagged due to suspicious activities. What? I reached out to them on Twitter, or rather X. I basically asked them what's going on, and they said that it got flagged because of the deposit I got from my client in South Africa, and that I should provide a reason for the transaction. I ended up sending them all the documents, including the invoice and contract, and screenshots of our conversation on Instagram where he first reached out to me, then on WhatsApp. Can't lie, this part kinda annoyed me, but anyway, it took a little over a week for them to resolve it. And to be honest, I'll say I was one of the lucky ones that actually got their accounts resolved, because clearly we can see for many other folks that it didn't exactly go well for them. And what was Payday's public response to this? Now, and see, this is something that started becoming a norm with Payday. People started losing their money to suspicious activities on the platform, and a bunch of other technical issues that would result in their virtual cards not functioning right, or people depositing money into their Payday accounts and the money not reflecting. The app is riddled with bugs. And to our surprise, just about 6 months after raising $3 million in a seed round led by MoneyPoint, Payday is actively speaking to buyers. Now, what that means is Favor is pretty much trying to sell Payday. And Favor already, in fact, confirmed this. Now, see, I don't have a problem with anyone trying to sell the company and others trying to acquire someone else's company, but the timing of all this is a bit uncanny. Why is Favor trying to sell Payday shortly after raising $3 million? And on top of that, for the past couple of months to a year, there's been quite a lot of unrest within the Payday team, with employers complaining about late payments. And whilst that being the case, Favor is literally paying himself up to $15,000 a month as per CEO. If the circumstances were a lot different, okay, I wouldn't even bat an eye. Like, you know what, to each his own. I think maybe he deserves that. But from what we're seeing, I don't think Payday was bringing in that much revenue, and the app was riddled with bugs. Lots of people were complaining. There were lots of accusations flying around, and he was paying himself $15,000 a month, but would subject his workers to late payments, bare minimum wage, and would even cut their wages. Why? So at this point, what we've been seeing is users' complaints increase and increase. And at this point, Payday is a ticking time bomb waiting to go off in all the users' faces. And it looks like that's exactly why Favory is trying to jump ship right now. You might be thinking I'm being unnecessarily hard on this Favor guy. Well, mind you, he's already been working on a similar product called Cherry Finance. Remember I told you, he's always working on several projects at the same time. And this Cherry Finance is aimed at Nigerians in the diaspora to easily send money back home to West Africa. Why not dedicate more of your time to actually fix Payday as opposed to building some other product that does something similar to Payday? But no, you insist on jumping ship, taking the high road, and leaving a lot of Nigerians and other Africans stranded with little to no alternative of getting their money back. And mind you, Payday's customer service has been on a decline. The internal team has been in shambles. It's like we're watching Payday crumble in real time, and the person that's supposed to be held accountable is literally going scot-free. That shouldn't be the case. Criminals like him should be held accountable, and they should be tried. But this is not the first time he's doing this, and it would definitely not be the last time he's doing it as well. He's currently building Cherry Finance, also been working with GitHub and Revolut. Now, I have no problem with that, but why must you build a platform that's gonna eventually crash and leave a lot of people stranded and put a lot of people like myself in difficult positions? Clearly, we can see that in this case, Payday is the equivalent of a side project for him. Hence why he's simply just selling off his own share of it, and bam, he's off. That's his own exit strategy. In a nutshell, Favor Ori is a shady businessman in the tech industry. He sure knows how to raise funds and build products, but he had no willingness to want to take time and nurture whatever he builds to let it grow and let it actually have some longevity. And he's always trying to be that guy that is innovating, bringing out solutions to Nigeria, to West Africa, and creating the solution for freelancers to receive payments from abroad and all of that, whilst all he's actually doing in reality is a facade. Favor Ori is all smoke and mirrors. We can see he's clearly using his knowledge and skill sets to take advantage of the African market, which in all honesty is a very vulnerable market right now. Favor Ori needs to be questioned by the authorities and be held accountable for the hundreds, if not thousands of Africans who have lost their money to Payday. To conclude this video, quick message to Favor Ori himself. You know what you're doing. You know you're taking advantage of thousands of vulnerable people. You're taking advantage of an entire industry and in a vulnerable region. Justice will be served one way or another. That's all I've got for you guys today. If you like this video and would like to see similar deep dives moving forward, make sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. And don't forget to share with your friends and family. Everyone be careful out there. And on that note, see you next time.